Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountrysheetcottage.net. So today we're going to talk about engraving aluminum. So you can get aluminum sheets from Cricut, or you can get them in a variety of places online. You can even engrave aluminum jewelry blanks, all with your Cricut Maker. So let's jump in, look at some aluminum, and look at how to engrave it on the Cricut Maker. First, let's talk about types of aluminum. So these are the aluminum sheets from Cricut. So we have a 5x7 as well as an 8x8. So we'll just open this 5x7 piece. Now these are a plain unfinished aluminum, as you can see here, and you will need to remove them from the package. And then you can see that one side is kind of a gold color, the other side is kind of a silver color. And they are going to have a protective film on them. So you're going to want to peel that film back before actually etching them. So to see the etching better, you're going to need to either put paint or something into the etching lines. So what I recommend is actually a stamp enamel marker. So this is from Impress Art. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use that on the aluminum piece that I am going to engrave. I'm actually not going to use these. I'm going to use a couple of different sheets. So to get a wide variety, the plain that I'm going to use is actually these necklace pieces. And so these are just picked up in the jewelry section. There's large and small pieces all in one container. And again, they're going to have a protective sheet on them. And you're going to want to peel that back before etching. And then you can see that it's just a plain aluminum. And we're going to use the Impress Art marker after we engrave it. So that's going to be our test for unfinished aluminum. And then I have this 5x7 piece that I actually ordered online this way, and it came with a paint finish on it. Now, you can take these plain sheets from Cricut and you can do a paint effect on them as well before you etch, but I just thought it was easier. I would recommend like some kind of spray paint, just something that gives you a nice clean finish. And then we're going to etch right on this painted surface, so the silver will show through the paint instead of having to add the black to the etching in this case. Next up is adding your piece to the mat. So what I would recommend is go by the 1-inch mark on your mat. Know the size of your piece. So mine's a 5x7, and I'm lining it up on the 1-inch by 1-inch marks. And then when we go to Cricut Design Space, we'll know where to locate our cuts. Now, this is a strong grip mat. It's really sticky, so it's holding it well. But you also want to use masking tape and tape all the way around all 4 sides. Now we're going to head to Cricut Design Space and take a look at designing your engraved pieces. And then we'll engrave this one as well as the necklace piece. And I'll put the necklace piece on the mat in a similar manner. Just locating somewhere where I know where it is, so once I go to Design Space, I can locate it appropriately. So I will have this particular canvas linked below so you can make exactly the project I've made if you would like. But let's talk a little bit about some tips and tricks for making your engraved aluminum projects. So the first thing I would recommend is to create a shape. So you just go to Shapes and Square or Circle depending on your blank size, and size that to the size that your blank is that you're going to engrave. So mine's a 5x7, so I made a 5x7 square first of all. Then I picked something that I want to engrave, and I changed my line type to engrave. So it was a cut line, and I just changed it to an engraved line. And then I can use this blank to see what it's going to look like actually on my project, and I can size this appropriately depending on how I want it to look. And in this case, I even did a little curve of the text because that's how I want it to look on my finished project. So now when I click Make It, I can, first of all, I'm just going to etch one for now, so I can hide the first. And then here, I can move this blank to the first mat. So I'm moving it to the mat with my engraving. I can move my engraving over, and then my blank is lined up on the 1x1 mark, if you'll remember. So I can line this blank up on the 1x1. And then I have a visual representation of what my blank looks like on the mat. And then I can locate my engraving according to that. And then we can click the blank, hide it, and now we just have the engraving, and we're ready to head to the Maker and engrave our lines with the engraving tip. So first we'll want to add the engraving tip itself to the cut side. of our Cricut Maker. Then we just pick aluminum sheets as our material type. Move our star wheels all the way over to the side. Insert our mat. And begin the etch. And now our etching is complete. So you might have noticed that the engraving tip spins occasionally at a high speed. This is just to knock off any debris and is completely normal. So we're going to eject it from our mat, and then we're going to take a lint roller and run it over and get up any of these little bits that are on here, because you don't want to get those in your finger. And then we'll remove it from the mat and our project will be complete. Once again, I used the aluminum sheet setting. This time my necklace piece, I removed the protective sheet from both sides. And then I found it best to center it on one of these lines, so I centered it on the 2-inch line and then located that in design space just like before. Again, taping it around all edges. Make sure your tape doesn't go anywhere where you're going to engrave. Then once again, we'll take this over, clean off any debris on the surface, and then remove it from the mat. So here, first of all, is the first sheet. So this is the painted aluminum sheet, and then you can see the silver shining through. Now let's do the jewelry itself. So I haven't removed it from the mat, just so I could illustrate how to do that. So first of all, you want to remove this tape. And then, especially for larger pieces, you'll want to flip your mat over, because the mat is flexible and the aluminum will not be, and sort of peel the mat back from the piece. Then you can remove all this tape and discard it. And then for the piece itself, so you may be able to see that it's etched, and I like the location of the etching, so you might have to try several times to get your location correct. The locating itself won't be exact on the Cricut, but it should be enough to give you a good idea. And then we want to use our marker to add the black. What you want to do is, first of all, you'll need a scrap piece of paper, and you'll need to start the black flowing out if it's a new marker. If it's not a new marker, you can just start with your project. So as it starts to come out, you just want it to get where it's all the way black on the tip and coming out really well. And then just go over your engraving. We're going to let this dry for 1 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to wipe off all this excess. So your goal is for the ink to only be in your engraving and not on any other surface. So let's just let that dry a few minutes. Then once it's dried a few minutes, you just want to remove any excess with a rag. Just wipe that away. And you should see a big difference in the etching itself. So the ink should be down inside of the etching. And you can repeat as needed. So this one, this is a little bit darker and this is a little bit lighter. So I might repeat a couple times before I finish my project. But you get the idea of how you etch on your Cricut Maker, both with painted aluminum and with plain aluminum, to make some great projects. So we made a couple of projects today. We did one with painted aluminum with a cool engraving feature, and this is great if you want that silver engraving to show through and you don't know how to do that. The painted surface is perfect for that. So I'll link to some painted aluminum blanks in the description below, or you can use just plain aluminum, run some spray paint over them, allow it to cure, and it should work great. And then the most exciting part is that you can take those aluminum jewelry blanks and engrave those on your Cricut as well. So we engraved this great necklace right on our Cricut Maker. Makes a perfect gift all within a couple of minutes. Like, this is super quick to make, super inexpensive, and will make an amazing personalized gift. So be sure to pick up those aluminum jewelry blanks and start engraving them on your Cricut Maker for gifts for everyone on your list. So thank you all so much for joining me today. If you learned something today, love this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've done today, ask them in the comment section below. You might want to head on over to YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, scroll back through some past videos because we have Cricut videos all the time. In the description below, I'll link our video that is a full video on everything you can do with the engraving tip. So if you don't have the engraving tip yet, this video didn't convince you, that video might, because you can see everything that you can do with it. I'll also link below some of the products I use, so you can pick those up, like aluminum jewelry blanks and things like that. So I used a flat round blank for a necklace, but I've seen people use like a flat blank, engrave it, and then bend it to make a bracelet and that type of thing. So you can do quite a bit with the Cricut Maker and personalized jewelry, all with your engraving tip. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank y'all so much for joining me this week. And as always, we'll be back next week with another great Cricut video. Thanks y'all, and see you later. Bye-bye.